you're looking to upgrade your current phone on Verizon Wireless, or if you're a new customer coming to Verizon from a previous service provider, you have a lot of options to choose from. Whether it be the Moto X by Motorola, the HTC One, which just recently made its debut on Verizon, or the three brand new Droid phones, including the Droid Mini, the Droid Ultra, and the Droid Maxx. You have a lot of really cool and really solid options to choose from in terms of a smartphone through Verizon Wireless. In today's episode of Mobile Cup of Joe, we're going to be reviewing one of those Droid phones we previously mentioned, and we're going to find out if it is too similar enough, and how it does stack up to the Moto X. Hey there everyone, how are you doing today? I am Joe Marin from MobileCupOfJoe.com, and in this episode of Mobile Cup of Joe, I'm going to be giving you my full review of the Motorola Droid Ultra on Verizon Wireless. So guys, the Droid Ultra is very similar to the Moto X. You have the same pixel resolution, a little bit bigger display here on the Droid Ultra, same internal processing specifications, same cameras, optics, and a lot of the same software features, except that this one has a little Verizon spin and taste on it. So does it really stack up in the market? Should you really consider purchasing this over the Moto X, or should you really even consider purchasing this at all? And is it really a smartphone that needs to exist when we already have the Moto X available on Verizon Wireless? We're going to find out all that and more here in my full review of the Motorola Droid Ultra, which starts right now. But before we go any further, please go ahead and grab that coffee cup, fill it up, bring it over, and sit on down. Take a swig for your Mobile Cup of Joe.
Alright, before we get too far in this video review, just like to give a really big thank you and shout out to our friends and pals over at Verizon Wireless for hooking us up with the Motorola Droid Ultra and other awesome Verizon products. Guys, it's because of companies like Verizon Wireless who do make Mobile Cup of Joe possible, because they send us products like the Droid Ultra right here to unbox and review for you guys, our fans. So big thanks to Verizon for the Droid Ultra, and let's go ahead and get started in this review video. And as with all of our reviews, let's start out by talking about some design and build quality aspects of the device. Looks like we have a Facebook message. Let's go ahead and close that real quick. So from a design standpoint and from a dimension standpoint, the Motorola Droid Ultra measures in at 5.41 by 2.80 by 0.28 inches, and it weighs in at 4.83 ounces. And as you can see right here, the device is actually very, very trim and slim. On the bottom right here where the charging port is, overall this is a very, very slim device. And at 4.83 ounces, it's really not too terribly heavy either. Now let's take a tour around the phone. On the front, we have our 5-inch screen. Below that, we have these 3 capacitive touch buttons. We have, if it wants to focus, a back button, a home button, and a recent applications button. Up top, we have our little headset speaker, and we have our little front-facing camera right there. It's a 2-megapixel lens. On the back, we have our 10-megapixel rear-facing camera. Our speaker grill is actually baked into the camera sensor right there. A Droid logo, Motorola logo, and Verizon logo. Going up top, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. Going on the bottom, we have got our micro USB syncing / charging port. On the right-hand side, we have our power / lock button right here, and our volume rocker. Now, what's really cool about the volume rocker, which I actually did not know this was a part of the phone, but you can actually put your fingers on there on the volume rocker to pry out and reveal your nano SIM card right there, which is actually very, very cool. I've never seen this done in a phone before. Easily the most creative way a SIM tray has been implemented in the phone. Doesn't really add a whole lot of functionality to the device, but it is really cool to have your SIM tray doubled with your volume rocker. Now, there is nothing on the left-hand side of the phone, and from a looks standpoint, the Ultra is actually really ugly. I personally really just took a little alcoholic wipe to clean the device before we started filming this video, which is about probably 5 minutes ago, and we've just been using the phone since we started recording this video. And you can see the front of the device already has some fingerprints on it, and if we turn it around, the back you can see is actually a bit worse. Not sure if you're seeing that right now, but you can see if we just touch it a little bit and we just rub our fingerprints on there, we've already got a lot of smudges going on here. Again, not sure how well you can see it, but there are quite a bit of smudges all over the back of that. Now, while we're talking about the back, you see that this camera lens right here is a bit obtrusive and really does look quite ugly to me. Then we have a Droid logo, Motorola logo, Verizon logo. The back is pretty much just advertising for Motorola, Verizon, and the Droid brand of smartphones through Verizon Wireless. Now, underneath this plastic coating right here is actually a DuPont Kevlar backing, but for some odd reason that I'm still not sure why they decided to, Motorola and Verizon decided to add a layer of plastic on top of it, which just makes the phone feel greasy, and again, it tracks fingerprints, and it feels very, very cheap. Feels kind of like a big toy, really does not feel that great. Feels okay in the hand, but it's not the most comfortable, and actually did feel a bit annoying and really not comfortable at all, holding this up to my ear to talk on the phone. So just from a look standpoint, it's really ugly. It might be thin, but overall, this is just a very, very poor looking phone. And it's really unfortunate considering that the Droid line of phones used to be some of the best Android phones to date, best Android phones when they were young. But this phone right here is just pretty much an abysmal train wreck to look at. Now let's go ahead and talk about some hardware. So as I mentioned before, the Droid Ultra has a 5-inch screen. You're getting a resolution of 1280 by 720p HD. That's not 1080p Full HD like we see on most of the high-end flagship smartphones. This is technically, though, a mid-range device. And as you can see right here, with 294 pixels per inch, your icons and your colors and everything look really good. This is a Super AMOLED display, so you are getting a really nice vibrant colors. And while the colors and the text is fairly crisp, there is a noticeable difference between this and a 1080p display like you'd find on the HTC One or the Samsung Galaxy S4. Again, it still looks really good, and you can see right there, good contrast of colors and the text and everything. It still looks good, but you just don't get that same level of crispness or texture and detail like you'll get, like I said, on a device with a 1080p Full HD screen. Now, in terms of processing, it's very, very interesting. It's the same story we found that we see on the Motorola Moto X and all of the other two Droid handsets that Motorola released on Verizon Wireless. So in terms of processing, the Motorola Droid Ultra is running on Motorola's in-house X8 computing system. What that consists of is a 1.7 gigahertz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Pro beefed-up CPU. And in terms of graphics, you have an Adreno 320 quad-core GPU, along with two separate cores. One of those cores being for contextual computing, and another of those cores being for natural language processing. So essentially, you kind of have an octa-core chipset in here, and you can see that swiping through your home screens is extremely fast. We can hop into our applications and widgets and swipe away, and there's no real lag at all. So it really is a very speedy CPU. Let's go ahead and hop into a game real quick. Let's go to Granny Smith just to show off how well it handles graphics. Turn our volume down a bit. And let's just go to the second level, just so you can get an idea for how it does perform with gameplay. And you can see right here, we're actually getting very smooth frame rates right now. Again, you have a quad-core Adreno 320 GPU, so you have a very high-end graphics processing unit in here. And again, with that 1.7 gigahertz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Pro CPU, maybe an older generation, but the X8 processing, or computing system rather, I didn't really have any issues with it at all. The Ultra is a very speedy device, whether you're playing games like we are right now, actually sucking at Granny Smith, or browsing the web or streaming video. It all feels very fast, which is a nice highlight to have, especially on a device that's considered a mid-range product. And you also have 2 gigabytes of RAM backing this up, so all in all, a very speedy performer. Now, as I mentioned before, you have a 10 megapixel rear-facing camera on the back, is what Motorola is calling a clear pixel camera, along with LED flash, and on the front you have a 2 megapixel affair right there. And overall, image quality was okay. I was able to get some pretty good looking photos actually, but a lot of them did turn up looking very muted and very cold. One good example, where can I find one? Where's a good example, my friends? I cannot. So you can see on here, for example, you've got fairly good color reproduction. The yellow could be a bit brighter, but you do have a decent amount of detail right there. So that's an example of a good picture I was able to take. Let's see if I can get another one. Here's one where, the detail again is good, but it just looks very cold and very uninviting. I took a relatively same picture of this with, I believe, what was the last phone that I reviewed? Can't think of it right now, but for whatever phone I reviewed, I'm having a terrible senior moment right now, and I'm only 15 years old. But I just was not impressed really with the color on here. Again, this is a very brightly colored frog that I've got outside my house, but it just looks cold and uninviting. Another good example of a picture that just looks bland is this cornfield right here. You can see, again, detail, pretty good, but it just looks really, really harsh, no color or life in this picture whatsoever. Now, one cool thing about the camera is that you can actually open it with just a flick of the wrist. So if you hold the device, even with the screen turned off, and you turn it twice like you're turning a doorknob, so just 1, 2, like that, if it wants to go, there we go, finally mastered it. And you see that the interface for the camera on the Droid Ultra is very simple. You have your button up here to enable video recording. You have a button here to switch to the front-facing camera, as you can see right there. Tap it again to switch to the rear-facing. And if you want to take a picture, just simply touch it to snap a pic, hold it down like so to take multiple screenshots. And as you hold it down, it'll actually show you the number. So it says 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it'll take that many. If you want to go and see the previous images you've just captured, simply swipe over to the left, and you'll see all these images here. And if we go back to the camera, and if you want more settings, just swipe over from the right, and you have this little half circle of settings. From here, you can adjust your HDR, your flash, your tap to focus, a slow motion video. You've also got panorama, geotagging, your shutter sound, and quick capture, which again is the ability to open up the camera application with just 2 quick flicks of the wrist right there. It works for the majority of the time. Again, you can see you have a little bit of trouble sometimes, but if you just do a simple motion of just turning it like a doorknob twice, it immediately opens that up, which is really nice if there's something you want to take a picture of right away, instead of having to turn on the phone, unlock it, and go to your camera application like so. All you have to do is take it out of your pocket and then just do a couple flicks of the wrist, and you're ready to go right there. So overall, I liked the interface and the features of the camera and the layout of it, but in terms of picture quality, just was not impressed with it. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the call quality on here. So if Motorola is known for anything, certainly not their cameras, they are known for their call quality. And overall, I was very, very pleased with the call quality I got here on the Droid Ultra. Everyone I talked to sounded like they were right next to me, and people we talked to said that we sounded crystal clear as well. No issues there in terms of actual talking to people. And data speeds were ultra fast as well, since this is a Verizon Wireless exclusive handset. You have access to Verizon's ultra fast 4G LTE data network, which in our testing with all of the phones we've reviewed so far has proved to be the fastest. So call quality and data speeds are not an issue here on the Droid Ultra. Now let's go ahead and talk about some software. So we're going to go ahead and go into our settings just to confirm it, but the Motorola Droid Ultra is running Android version 4.2.2 Jelly Bean, which is not the very latest, but since Motorola has been bought out by Google and they are finally showing that they are a Google company, I would hope to see an update to Android version 4.3 Jelly Bean sometime in the near future, and hopefully we'll get an update to 4.4 KitKat, which is actually just announced a couple days ago. So not sure if we'll get 4.3 or 4.4 on here, but again, since Motorola is now kind of a part of Google, I would expect to see some updates fairly soon here on this device. Now, as you can see right here, it looks fairly similar to stock Android. We've got the layout right here with the application drawer and everything, which is the same. We have a lot of the icons have been unchanged, such as the camera icon, the messaging, the phone icon. So it really does look a lot like stock Android. You swipe down with one finger to get access to your notifications, and if you swipe down with 2 fingers, you have access to your quick settings. You can of course access these by just touching this. By touching this button right here to swap back and forth. And the part where you can really tell this is not a pure Nexus device, although it may look like stock pure Android, is when you go into the application drawer and notice all of the freaking bloatware you have installed on this, because since this is a Verizon Wireless exclusive, Verizon had a lot of say in what was put on the phone, and they sure did put on a lot of it. So let's go ahead and take a look at all the applications we have pre-installed on the phone. Starting off the list, we have our suite of Amazon applications with the Amazon Shopping application, Amazon Kindle, Amazon MP3, the Amazon App Store. We have Motorola Assist, which is actually really cool, and we also have Audible. We have got Caller Name ID. Going over, we have, what else do we have? We have IMDb, we have Ingress on here, we have Migrate, we have got Mobile Hotspot through Verizon Wireless, My Verizon Mobile, NFL Mobile. We also have Quick Office, and we've got Verizon Tones, Viewdini, Voicemail, VZ Navigator, VZ Security, and all in all, I counted 18 total pre-installed applications on here, which is pretty bad. Again, this is a Verizon Wireless exclusive, so the carrier has a lot more say in how the phone's designed, which is apparent from this big Verizon logo and Droid logo on the back, and also all of those 18 pre-installed applications. Now, although that is a big downer for the hardware, especially since there is no expandable storage on this unit, or on the Droid Ultra at all, really, there are a couple cool little software features on here that were actually first introduced on the Moto X, but they have also made their way here onto the Droid Ultra. The first of those I'd like to touch base on is called active notifications. So if I have my phone turned over onto its back like this, and I say, you know what, I want to look at my phone and don't want to look at this ugly plastic over Kevlar design here on my phone. Pick it up, turn it over, and my screen turns on, showing me the time and my option to unlock it. Now, if I have any notifications, I'll actually be able to see them right here. And so if I have a text message, for example, it'll show the icon right here, and I can hold it down and swipe up to go to the text message. But since I don't have any notifications like that, I can just unlock it. Now, active notifications, the screen will also pop on if it senses you just really pick it up, and it sometimes wants to do that if you pick it up from a table or something. Not doing it right now. Also, if you have this in a back pocket, whip it out and the screen turns on. But it's really nice, at your office table or something, on its face, pick it up, and your screen automatically turns on. Now, since it is a Super AMOLED panel, only the entire screen is not lighting up to save battery. Only the actual pixels you're seeing right here at the time and the lock option to unlock it are the only pixels lighting up, so it's not going to kill your battery. And it really is an incredible feature. And once you do start using it throughout your day, it's going to be really hard for me to live without it on other smartphones, and completely blows standard notification lights out of the water. Now, the second big feature on here is called touchless control. So touchless control, again, it was first introduced on the Moto X. It actually gives you the ability to completely use your phone without touching it at all. So by saying the phrase, "Okay, Google now," I can actually operate and use my phone without touching it, as you can see right now. And it's actually thinking that I'm wanting to use it because I said that phrase. Now, what's really cool about the touchless control is that when you do get the Moto X or the Droid Ultra or any of Motorola's phones that have this feature on there, when you set it up, it becomes recognized to only your voice. So if your friends say that, if you tell your friends that, you know what, I've got this thing on my phone, or if I say, "Okay, Google now," it'll operate right away. Well, friends being friends, they might try to say, "Okay, Google, okay, Google now, okay, Google now," trying to screw with your phone, and it won't do it because it's only recognizing and will only initiate that command if it hears the command come from your voice, which is pretty cool that actual voice recognition technology is baked into the software. So let's go ahead and demo a few of the commands we can actually use with the touchless control. So let's try a couple right now. "Okay, Google now. How's the weather?"
It's 76 degrees and clear in South Haven.
Or we can say, "Okay, Google now. Set a reminder for me at 7:30 p.m. to wash the dishes." And you can see that it has our reminder right there. Today at 7:30 p.m., wash the dishes. And we can go ahead and set the reminder right there to wash the dishes at 7:30. So let's go ahead and look at a text message we got from Alyssa. She said, "Uh-oh," then a face, "aha." So let's go ahead and reply to her text message without using our hands, because we really are too lazy to actually type out a message. So all we have to do is say, "Okay, Google now. Text Eliza. Message. Yep, you're on an episode of Mobile Cup of Joe. Say hi. So it don't want to show you her number actually. So if I can just cover that with my finger. It got the text right there, kind of. It said, "Yup, your own an episode mobile company Joe says hi." So really not the best, but that's probably because it doesn't recognize Mobile Cup of Joe as an actual thing or his actual name. But you do see that it does work well. So with all that said, I ended up giving the Motorola Droid Ultra a 6 out of 10. Let me tell you why. Along with the pre-mentioned cons with the horribly ugly design, the underwhelming cameras, also actually forgot to mention the poor battery life on this thing. I had some big issues with it. I'll actually show you a screenshot. Almost forgot this part. This is a big important part of the phone. Forgot to throw this on my notes actually. But if I go into my gallery right here, and I go to screenshots, and where is that picture? You can see right here that, sorry about that, with 20% remaining, only being on for 8 hours and 50 minutes, not even 9 hours, it was only at 20%, and that was at not even 5 o'clock in the evening. And that was with some heavy texting, light camera usage, moderate gameplay, light web browsing. That is really not great. I believe the battery size is a 22,130 milliamp hours or something. I'll add a little text on the screen if I was wrong about that. But battery life, I was very unimpressed with. I always had to look for my charger well before or well around 8 o'clock p.m. in the evening, which is just not a full day of use for me. So again, ugly design, underwhelming cameras, the poor battery life, and the loads of bloatware are bad enough, but then you really consider how similar this device is to the Moto X, which, although we have not actually used it in person yet, has a far, far better design, has a more compact form factor at 4.7 inches, and is selling for the exact same prices of $199 with a brand new 2-year contract, and is also available on virtually every major carrier here in the United States, whereas the Droid Ultra is ugly, is a bit more unwieldy at 5 inches. Again, it's still comfortable to use, but at 4.7 inches, the Moto X will appeal to more people, and this is only available through Verizon Wireless. If you consider that, it really makes no sense why you wouldn't go with the Moto X, since this just feels like the Moto X, but not as well done. Really does feel like Motorola was just on a contract to throw out 3 new Droid phones on Verizon Wireless, and you can tell that they want you to buy the Moto X because there is nothing exciting at all about the Droid Ultra right here like there is about the Moto X. Now, sure, you have the features like the active notifications and touchless control, but when those features are executed better on the Moto X and in a far better design and on more carriers, it's very hard to recommend the Ultra. Yes, it's fast. Yes, the screen size is a little bit bigger than the Ultra, and the call quality is great, but really all the pros on this device can be found on the Moto X. So when you factor all that in, it just becomes an incredibly, incredibly tough sell, and is really hard for me to recommend to anyone. So please feel free to let me know what you think about my review of the Motorola Droid Ultra in the comments below, and that's about all the time we have for this episode of Mobile Cup of Joe. Guys, if you liked the video, please go ahead and hit the like button if you liked it. It takes 1 second to do so, and it really does help support the show. And if you want to show your support towards the show even more, I would really appreciate it if you go ahead and hit the subscribe button for more Mobile Cup of Joe videos. Guys, Mobile Cup of Joe, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and make sure you head on over to our website at www.mobilecupofjoe.com for the latest in technology news, reviews, giveaways, and more. I am Joe Marin from mobilecupofjoe.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.